Coming up next on MASL Primetime, we head to the Pacific Northwest, where Tacoma was looking to take down the Giants as they faced undefeated Monterey. Interconference play is back. It was an East-West showdown as Baltimore and San Diego didn't play nice. And Alex Bradley of the Milwaukee Wave joins us to talk about his team's championship run last year and their continued excellence. It's all coming up next. This is MASL Primetime. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Alex Baschuvahnskee, and man, there were some crazy games in the league last week. In fact, we had a tough time trying to decide exactly which one to start with, but we got to go with Monterey and Tacoma. Now, the Flash had been the dominant team in the MASL through 9 weeks of play. They boasted a pristine 13-0 record and were the final remaining unbeaten squad in the league. But unexpectedly, it was Tacoma, despite its subpar 4-7 record, that were the ones to finally take down the Flash. Highlights in this segment are brought to you by Mitre Soccer. Mitre is the official soccer ball of the MASL. And the Stars knew they had a Herculean task on their hands here. Monterey has just been so dominant this year. They were up 1-0, and then Edgar Flores rips it home to make it 2-0 after 15 minutes. Back came the Stars in the second. Nick Pereira to Vince McCluskey, and he pulls Tacoma to within one. With the score knotted at 2 apiece, Waltman bobbles the initial shot here. Flores, ever the opportunist, makes it 3-2. Up 4-2, Jorge Rios redirects it home at the side of the net. Monterey was cruising. Second half, though, Tacoma would get one back, and then McCluskey pokes it past the keeper to make it 5-4. Just a $1.16 later, Alex Megson knots it up at 5 apiece. Are you kidding me? Fourth quarter, reigning MASL MVP Nick Pereira coming through as he usually does, gives the Stars their first lead of the game, and then
Pereira has drawn Aguilar out wide. Caceres stepping in on the left. Now for Ramos, has a go, it scores! Mike Ramos, his second of the night, and Tacoma leads by 2.
And that would prove to be the game winner as Tacoma upsets the previously unbeaten Flash. Nick Pereira, obviously a happy man after.
We needed a response. We knew that the home loss to Ontario wasn't good enough. And obviously I think the response tonight was unbelievable, so we got to keep the momentum going, stay high on the top of that wave and ride it.
Boy, Orlando was one squad that could really use a win. Just a single victory all season heading into this tilt. Tied 1-1 in the first. Dudica Carvalho gives the ambush back the lead. Jason Norsik makes the initial stop here, but Daniel Jackson gets the rebound to go. Tied 2-2 after 15 minutes they were. Second quarter, Orlando nabs its first lead of the game. Jeff Michaud tattooing the offering. Seawolves up 3-2 with the score at 4-3. Eduardo Cruz deposits the perfect pass. 5-3, but St. Louis turned it up after that. Look at the passing. Tic-tac-toe. Carvalho grabs his second of the contest to tie it. Fourth quarter, Orlando leading 6-5. Watch the fake right there by Tony Walls as he lets it bounce past him to Anthony Grant. Sometimes doing nothing is the best move of all. And then leading 7-6, the man from Yorkshire, England, JT Thomas, tips it in on the doorstep. That proves to be the game winner. The ambush survive a scare and win 8-7. Okay, Ontario hosting the Turlock Express. Cal draw first blood. Adrian Polito squeezes it in short side. Passed by Chris Toth. The Fury hit back, though. Justin Stinson, talk about threading the needle. 2 sets of legs there to tie it up at 1 apiece. 4 seconds before the end of the quarter, Anibal Echeverria, sweet solo effort. He keeps going and going and finally smacks it past Toth. 2-1. Second quarter was all Fury, though. Malcolm de Abreu had 2 of the 3 goals. That one tied it at 2. They led 4-2 at the half. Fourth quarter now. Fury leading 5-4, and oops, Toth gives it away. Echeverria says thanks and ties it up, but that's when Frank Taillou, the legend, goes to work with just under 3 minutes remaining. Frankie tips it home on the doorstep, and that proves to be the game winner. Fury midfielder Charlie Gonzalez, boy, he loved the effort his squad showed against Turlock to get the win.
The difference is just a team difference. I feel like today we started off good, and then towards like the middle we kind of dropped off a little bit, but just the intensity towards the end picked up from everyone. Okay,
let's take a look at the MASL points leaders through 10 weeks of play, and Leo the Legend still leading. Comfy lead there over Brian Aguilar, Enrique Cañas, Frank Taillou, Nick Pereira, and Ricardo Carvalho, all tied actually with 30 points apiece. Welcome back to MASL Primetime. It would be perfectly understandable if you took a look at the Eastern Conference standings recently and did a double take. Baltimore, MASL champs 3 of the last 4 seasons, had a 5-6 record heading into week 10. Now think about that. The most dominant franchise of the past few seasons sat in 5th place outside of a playoff spot. Well, Saturday night presented one of their biggest challenges this year, an interconference game against Western Power San Diego that turned out to be one of the most intense games of the season so far. This East-West showdown had a bit of everything. Vinny Dantas gets things going for the Blast, steals it in close, flicks the miter past Boris Pardo, and it's 1-0 Baltimore courtesy of the big Brazilian. Second quarter with the Blast leading 2-0. Both teams scrambling. Finally, Slava Jupiparipovic says enough of this, and he cuts their deficit to a single goal. 4 minutes later, though, Adrian Dos Santos puts it past Pardo. Baltimore led 3-1 at the break. Second half, Craig Childs goes to work for San Diego. The free kick makes it a 1-goal game once again. Now, Vinny Dantas already had a goal at this point in the game, and he added a second, the one-timer here, off the feed from Jonatos Mello, and he was pumped. Blast led 5-2 at that point. Just a $1.30 later, Mello gets in on the fun at top shelf behind Pardo. Baltimore leading 6-3 heading into the 4th. Now, there had been all kinds of chippy play throughout the game. It continued as time winded down with the Blast on their way to a victory. The two teams tangled along the boards, had to be separated. All kinds of verbiage flying back and forth between the benches, and we'll show you more of that later on our Naughty List segment. Baltimore takes down Western Power San Diego 9-5 though. Okay, the Soccer's Eastern swing also included a stop in Harrisburg. The hometown Heat strike first, William Eske hammering it home to make it 1-0. Craig Childs, though, imposed his will, the all-time leading scorer for the San Diego Sockers. First, he hammers one free kick past William Banahany to make it 1-1. In the second quarter, Childs, Roof Daddy, does it again. Banahany doesn't even move. Blue and gold leading 2-1. Now, Harrisburg draws even. Nelson Santana, the Santana Spinorama out front, knots it up at 2 apiece. Slava Jupiparipovic, though, steals, flicks it past Banahany to put San Diego back on top. Second half, the visitors up 4-2 at this point. Ty Hall goes down hard, but Brian Farber makes it worth it as he finishes it off. Fourth quarter, trailing 6-4, Elton de Oliveira pulls Harrisburg back to within a goal, but in the dying seconds, Farber seals the deal for the Sockers. San Diego earns a split on its Eastern trip. They finished with a 1-1 record. Monterey was an angry bunch after losing its first of the year on the weekend. Before the game, though, the Flash paying tribute to the great one, Kobe Bryant, who, of course, tragically lost his life the day before. Hugo Puentes gets things going for Monterrey, beating Eduardo Cortez at the 7:44 mark. Mesquite responds, though. Oscar Romero with a beauty to tie it up 1-1. Second quarter, Monterrey reeled off 3 straight. Miguel Vaca makes it 2-1 right there. They were up 4-1 when the Love Machine, Jamie Lovegrove, crushes it past keeper Berna Valdovinos to cut Mesquite's deficit in half. Brian Aguilar challenging for the MASL scoring lead right now, and he had another huge game. 3 points on the day, including 2 goals on the afternoon. There's number 1, and soon after, dos. Simply unstoppable, Brian, when he gets going. But it's Mesquite's Jorge de Leon that comes up with the play of the game. And this starts well back. He fights off 2 flash players, smashes it in. Gorgeous. Monterrey, too much though. Hugo Puentes seals it. As the Flash get back on track, they take down Mesquite 10-4. Harrisburg is for real this season. They're much improved compared to last year. They proved it again against Baltimore. J.J. Gibson drawing first blood for the Heat. 4:30 later, Tavoy Morgan shaking and baking past 2 Baltimore players. And gets the score. They were actually up 3-0 when Vinny Dantas gets 1 back for Baltimore. Second half, down 3-2. Dantas pulls them even with the beautiful one-timer. Harrisburg goes back up again, though. William Eske making it 4-3 Heat. Fourth quarter, Morgan steals and finds Dom Francis, who goes barred down. Big win for Harrisburg as they flex their muscles and take down Baltimore 7-4. Okay, Milwaukee hosting first-year Rochester. The Lancers haven't won a game this year, but they do have this habit of getting the first goal of the game. Case in point, Diego Mayanga makes it 1-0 Rochester. The problem for the Lancers has been what happens after they score the first goal. Tied 1-1, own goal by Alex Harling. And then it's Ian Bennett, and this is about as barred down as you can get, the Canadian assassin. Making it 3-1 Wave. Keeper Brian Wilkin makes the great first stop right there, but Brian Weidbach makes it 4-1. And then Chad Vandergriff gets in on the fun, smashing the second chance into the back of the cage. Enough carnage. You can see where this is going. Milwaukee cruises on home turf. They take down the Lancers 15-3. Welcome back to MASL Primetime, and once again, to the shock of no one, the Milwaukee Wave are one of the elite teams in the league. And joining me now from the reigning Ron Newman Cup champions is midfielder Alex Bradley. Alex, welcome to MASL Primetime.
How you doing, Alex? Thank you so much for having me.
Good, you're welcome. You just came off the floor too. So thanks for joining us all sweaty and stuff right after practice. But you know what, you guys are 8-3 so far on the year. You're chasing Florida for first place in the East. 2 of those losses, I think we could say classified as upsets to St. Louis and to Kansas City. But just tell us how you feel the team has played so far this year.
Yeah, I think 8-3. You know, maybe at the start of the season, we would have hoped maybe to have 1 or 2 less losses. But I think we can definitely take a lot of positives from them. You know, all of them have been 1-goal games. You know, 2 in overtime. And having, you know, the team we've had guys step in. We've had quite a few injuries that have done great, but we're only going to get stronger and stronger as the season goes on when guys are getting fit and healthy again. So we're still happy with where we're at, I think, and excited for the rest of the game.
And you are, as I mentioned, the defending champions. So on that note, have you found the teams are maybe gunning for you a bit more? Do they elevate their game even more when they face the champions?
Yeah, I think Jules and, you know, Marcelo have been very good at letting us know that we're kind of everyone's biggest game this year, you know, being current champions. Being one of the great organizations that have played, you know, the indoor game and been around for the history that we have, will always be team's biggest games. You know, sometimes show up and they don't have the arena that we have, the fans that we have and stuff. So they're always up for it. We kind of have the, you know, bullseye on our back, I guess. So every game's like a playoff game for us. We know we're going to get everyone's best. So Jules does a great job of letting us know that every game.
Yeah, and looking up and down your lineup, I mean, there are so many weapons on your squad. Now, we got to point out Rafa Diaz, of course, has been great between the posts for you. But for the moment here, let's chat about the offense. Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand are both up near the top of the league scoring race. Talk to us about that dangerous duo.
Yeah, I mean, their records, you know, both their playing history, the championships they've won, kind of speaks for themselves. Anyone who's been around the league knows those two guys. It's so nice being around. You learn so much just from, you know, watching them in practice, you know, not do the extra, you know, you always got, Ian's definitely always showing up before practice, doing the, you know, extra work, even after. Yeah, you learn so much from them. It's nice to have players of that quality as well, because when we come to playing other teams, you know, sometimes they get a lot of the attention and it allows your own game to kind of shine through, because they have all the pressure, they got all the eyes on them.
Opens up space for the other guys too then.
Yeah.
To contribute, yeah. Last season, of course, you captured the Ron Newman Cup on your home floor in front of a sold-out arena in Milwaukee, one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen. But just tell us about, you know, how things came together for you guys in that championship season last year.
Yeah, it was incredible. We were very fortunate, I would say, during the season. Obviously, you know, getting up indoor soccer is a very physical game. The professional level of any sport, you can have injuries, but we were very fortunate in terms of staying very healthy. You know, we had a really good practice squad. The guys that were, you know, right on the brink of playing or pushing all the guys in the lineup. There's no one that could relax, you know. So that was huge for us. The level of practice. Kind of hate to say it, but sometimes our practices are some of the games that we played last year, I would say, definitely. So, you know, with this year, we hope to get back to having everyone healthy. Our practice has still been great, but I know there's still an extra level that we can hit when everyone's back on the practice field.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, to get back to those fans for a second, you do get some of the best fan support in the MASL, and I'm always struck by just, you know, how passionate Wave fans are. Does that, I guess it's an obvious question, but how much of a boost does that give you guys stepping onto the pitch with that kind of support that you receive?
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, a couple of the guys we picked up this year, my former teammates from Cedar Rapids, Mario and Derek Hoffman, and, you know, the first home game, they're just kind of like, I was kind of watching them and watching take it in, like they're getting used to it. It's going to be every home game, you know, having at least 2, 3, 4, sometimes up to 5,000, 6,000 fans. I'd definitely say that some of the best in the MSL, and hopefully, you know, we've got a string of home games coming up. Hopefully we can keep those crowds coming.
We've got about 45 seconds left here, but so you are from England. Which part of England again? So let us know.
Just north of London. It's actually called Leighton Buzzard, small town.
Right. And you mentioned to me before we went on air that this was, you up until 3 years ago, you'd never even played arena soccer. Congratulations, by the way. You were the MASL Player of the Week for week number 9. Obviously, you've picked up the game pretty well. But just tell us your impressions of the game the first time you stepped on the pitch and in playing that first season. Again, about 30 seconds here. I know it's short, but just tell us what your impressions were.
Yeah, it was a crazy first season being with Cedar Rapids. You know, we didn't often practice with board. It was really tough, so we'd have games and home games when the field is set up, and I'll be out there an hour and a half before training, just pinging it off the boards, trying to get used to that. So that was very tough. I didn't know it existed. I mean, probably partly being from England growing up there, but, you know, got a great history. And
you guys are doing a great job. Listen, you're in Europe, Milwaukee, like I said, class franchise, always up near the top of the league, defending champs. And good luck as you guys progress this season and try to defend. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Alex.
All right, more MASL Primetime coming up in just a moment. And welcome back to MASL Primetime. The Florida Tropics have no doubt turned a lot of heads this season. Through week 9, they sat in the Eastern Conference penthouse with a sparkling 9-1 record. Now sure, they'd beaten MASL powers Milwaukee and Baltimore already, but not everyone was buying into the Tropics hype quite yet. 5 of their 9 wins had come against Orlando, who've struggled big time with just a single victory so far this season. Now the same thing couldn't be said, though, about St. Louis. The Ambush had wins over Milwaukee and Utica on their resume, so they were expected to be a stiff test for the Tropics when they squared off on Saturday night. Game highlights in this segment are brought to you by Sports Resource Group, proud partner of the MASL, SRG, building walls that bring us together. Any doubters as to Florida's potency were likely believers after this game. They dominated. Matt Clare, beautiful volley to make it 1-0 FLA. Second quarter, it was Dr. Ruggles going to work. Drew with the first of 2 beauties right there. And then Ruggles shreds the Ambush. Great solo effort and gets his brace. It was actually 4-0 Tropics at the break. This was actually the Ambush's only goal of the day, and it goes in off the shoulder of the defender, and Tony Wall's getting credit for it. But Victor Pereira's tattoos the one-timer right there to make it 5-1. Florida is looking like they might just be the team to beat in the East. They win 7-1. Sonora hosting the Mesquite Outlaws, and the visitors jump on them early, already leading 1-0. Bradley Baladez steals and hits Pater to make it 2-0. But Enrique Cañas helps his team wake up. The superstar cutting inside, ripping it top shelf, and yeah, that'll get your blood pumping. It's 2-1, but Mesquite hits right back. Oscar Romero finding the open net to put the Outlaws back up 2-1. Second quarter, though, Sonora comes back strong. Daniel Lopez, one of 3 Soles goals in the quarter. Fast forward to the fourth now. Tied 8-8, Jorge De Leon finds the back of the cage to give Mesquite the lead. And Gustavo Rosales, though, knots it up once again. And then Alejandro Leyva sticks the dagger in, and that would prove to be the game winner as Sonora wins an entertaining affair. They take it 12-9. Okay, KC hosting the Rochester Lancers, and once again, we talked about this, the Lancers draw first blood. Gary Boughton makes it 1-0 for Rochester, but Leo the Legend just had a beast of a week for KC. First, Gibson ties it up with the one-timer right there, and then penalty shot just 12 seconds later, and Leo does not miss those. But the Lancers tie it up. They were sticking with them for the time being, at least. Diego Mayanga makes it a 2-2 game, but KC took over from that point. Ignacio Flores, pinpoint accuracy from a tough angle. And then it's Lewis over to Gibson. That's the hat trick for Leo. Gibson talked afterwards about how you've got to be careful not to lose your head in these types of games.
With games like this, you kind of get carried away easily. Everybody wants to score, but the guys did a good job sticking to their roles and responsibility, so it was good.
Okay, let's take a look at the naughty list for Week 10. And we talked about the Baltimore-San Diego game being a bit rough. Well, keep your eye on the Sockers' Eduardo Velez as he punches Mike Diesel while he's got his back turned. I'm not sure that's the guy you want to punch. Diesel's a pretty big dude. Anyway, Velez gets a 1-game suspension for that naughtiness. The team of the week, Vinny Dantas, Leo Gibson, Gustavo Rosales, Evan McNeely, Drew Ruggles of the Florida Tropics, and goalkeeper William Banahany. And the Primetime Player of the Week brought to you by Sports Turf. And it's Leo Gibson, and you can understand why. He only played a single game against Rochester, but Leo was massive. 7 points in the one game, 6 goals as Leo helped them to the win, and he continues to lead the MASL scoring race. The Primetime Plays of the Week. And starting with number 5, St. Louis against Orlando. Look at the ambush passing. Tic-tac-toe. Dudica Carvalho with the finish. Number 4, Michael Ramos for Tacoma against Monterey. Just murders the poor miter Paul. And that was the game winner. Drew Ruggles making mincemeat of St. Louis, the dynamite solo rush, and the finish. Number 2, the top 3 actually were all fantastic solo runs. Tavoy Morgan of Harrisburg turns Baltimore inside out and then finally beats keeper William Van Zela. We thought this one topped them all, though. Mesquite's Jorge de Leon against Monterey. I mean, he covers some serious real estate and then provides the big finish. Gorgeous. And that is our primetime play of the week. Yeah, we're all out of time for today, but just a reminder, MASLsoccer.com is your home base for all things in the Major Arena Soccer League, and there's all kinds of other social media to keep you up to date as well. Thank you so much for watching MASL Primetime, and we'll see you next week.